shows for oh so long. Every summer in your favorite bar, we're determined to keep going strong. Nothing in the world can stop our song.
So whether you have season tickets or saw a show with friends,
we have the info and the scoop on all the latest trends. Gather around, we won't be a bore. We promise to have you coming back for more. In the meantime, we'll say what we need.
Welcome to the first episode of In the Meantime with John Saunders. I'm John Saunders, and this is In the Meantime, and I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing. How about that theme song, written by David Maglione, our resident musical director, sung by Kelly Murphy with David. I feel like we're very legit having a theme song. We are going to do this weekly webcast to see how everyone's doing, how people are getting through things, and also what else they're doing in the meantime. So I had the pleasure of interviewing the powerhouse Emily Kron this week, and the interview was fantastic. I wish we could show you the whole thing. We yammered on for about an hour and a half. We are currently raising funds through our Bright Future Fund, and if you see this, and if you donate, and you mention Emily Kron's name, we're going to give 50% of that as an honorarium to Emily to help her keep going and doing all the amazing products and projects, I should say, that she's doing. So remember that. If you hit the donate button for Bright Future and you mention Emily for this, we are definitely going to send her half the dough and keep her creative juices flowing. So without further ado, please enjoy this interview with Emily Kron. All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. So tell us, what's your name?
Emily Kron, EmilykRon.
Very good, Emily. Tell us where you're from, Em.
I am from New York, New York.
Like, I get your city vibe that you're putting down.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. There's some turbulent city vibes, some neuroses, some just sort of like flying by the seat of your pants kind of vibes. All, I think, because of New York City being just a crazy, chaotic place.
So I have to get it out there that you are the first guest on my new talk show, In the Meantime, with John Saunders.
Oh, wow.
Isn't it crazy? So I'm like one of the last like true analogers. So technically I'm a disaster.
Sure.
But, you know, I've ordered all this equipment. James Rogers made me order like a ring light and a microphone and all this fancy equipment to start doing these at-home shots. And
right.
So what's awesome is that the ring light didn't show up. So now I'm giving you like top lighting from over there, side lighting from over there. And but what did turn up was my microphone.
It looks great.
Doesn't look good.
Does she have a name?
She doesn't yet. Maybe that's what we'll do during our interviews. You can figure out what her name is.
I would love that. Yeah, I'd be honored.
The blue brings out my eyes, don't you?
100%. It's a great color. Did you choose the color?
I did choose the color.
Of course.
But one thing you should probably know is that I don't know how to work it, so it's actually not plugged in.
That's really great.
So it's basically all for effect.
Well, listen, what's not all for effect at the end of the day?
True that.
This is the business of show.
This is it. So tell me, where are you quarantining?
I am quarantining in Brooklyn, New York. I've been holed up in my little apartment here. You know, it's been weird and kind of, you know, nice in certain moments too, to like really have alone time with myself and get creative sometimes, and also like have moments of complete blockage as well. I think everyone's experiencing that. Yeah. And it's weird to be in New York City, but also I'm not really in the city, right? I'm like in this 3-block radius of my own little neighborhood. So it's really kind of strange.
Yeah.
I've never felt more and less like a New Yorker at the same time. And you've been in Chatham this whole time, right?
Yeah, I've been in Chatham. You know, we had our open calls for the season that
right.
first week of March. And
right.
Oddly enough, I had a doctor's appointment right before that. And she was like, "Are you here? Are you going back upstate?" I was like, "Oh, I'm going back upstate." She's like, "Good." She was like, "Get out of the city." And I've been here since March 7th, actually.
Wow. So you didn't do the straw hats or anything? Or you did?
No, the Straw Hats ended up, luckily getting canceled. We canceled first because I said to Monica, I was like, I don't know about this. I'm like, the schools kind of started to close down that week, and they were supposed to be that next weekend. And I said to her, I was like, I don't know how I feel about being in a classroom for 3 days.
Yeah.
And then her being in that big auditorium with all those people, I'm like, something tells me this could get weird. And so we canceled. And then literally the next day, the Straw Hats canceled.
So wild. And I saw you like a week before that.
Oh, you saw me like right before I left. I was very lucky I got out of there. And of course, like the first few days I was here, I was like, I'm dying. Oh my God, I got it.
I got it.
I didn't get it. So luckily I've stayed healthy, and I've stayed inside. And
I had it.
You did?
I did. I tested positive for the antibodies, which means that I had it. But I was virtually asymptomatic, other than I lost my sense of smell, which is a very unique symptom and so strange. That's never happened in my whole life. So when that happened, I was like, this is weird. And sure enough, I got the antibodies test and I tested positive. So strange.
You never got super sick?
I never got super sick. I was just, that was my only symptom was losing my sense of smell. But super strange.
Good.
Yeah. But feeling good.
Well,
I got dressed up. I feel good right now because I'm wearing pants.
Oh, I literally got dressed today. I did my hair. I feel sensational.
You look fabulous. I'm so pleased.
Right back at you. I did not wear hoops because I knew you were going to wear them. So
that's why. Well, these are actually yours.
Yes, but I didn't want to steal your thunder. So I let you wear the hoops.
I'll send them back later.
Let's get back into like some history first.
Yeah, would love history.
I want to know, how did you get into acting?
How did I get into acting? Wow, we are going back in her story.
Yeah,
okay, so when I was a little kid, I fell in love with theater. Actually, my first entry point was Into the Woods. We studied Into the Wood. Loved the school I went to. We studied Into the Woods in 7th grade. We studied fairy tales. That was the curriculum. And so my really wonderful teacher, Andy Robinson, loved Into the Woods, and he used it as like basically a lesson on like how to create, I think, story and story arc. And I just fell in love with theater as a medium at that moment, and had been in a couple school shows before then. And just like Sondheim spoke to me in a really intense way. And I was just in it. I was sort of hooked right away at that moment, and just kept doing it throughout school, and studied voice from a really young age with Marnie Nixon.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Who's my voice teacher from like the age of 12 years old to 20 something. I just saw so much theater. I watched so many movies. I was the kind of kid who was like watching the PBS Angela Lansbury, Sweeney Todd, and Into the Woods on repeat. Yeah. On repeat. So just was in love from like kind of a young age.
Yeah, and growing up in the city, just being exposed to all that probably all the time, because I know you're theater people.
Right.
I want to know about your first starring role.
Oh my God. Okay. My first starring role was Nancy and Oliver in 8th grade.
8th grade, yes. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I would say I had a really nice feature as Gretel in The Sound of Music in 6th grade, which this is an aside, but I am expecting I was to be cast as Gretel in your production of Sound of Music, but we can discuss that later if you.
Well, that's funny because I didn't want to ruin it for the fans, but you know, 'cause a lot of people have said, like, what are you going to be in? And it was going to be Gretel.
That's what I thought. Yeah. And so Nancy was the big one. I had braces. Probably had chunks in my braces.
Most Nancy's are definitely cast with braces.
100%. Talking about getting wasted. Like, Nancy's a crazy character. Yeah, she's drinking beer, she's turning tricks.
One of those kids, she's just like, she's nailing it.
She's nailing it. But those songs were so fun. Except the fun factoid about Nancy was that my school, to keep it fair to the kids, they did Act 1 Nancy and Act 2 Nancy. Oh. I was unfortunately Act 1 Nancy. So I didn't get to sing As Long as He Needs Me, which is I have a big chip on my shoulder about it to this day. If we're going to be completely honest.
I'm not okay with that.
No. And so I don't know what to do about that. It's a wound, but the rest of it.
If you want to run through it during this interview, I'm fine.
Great.
Like mimic the slap from Bill Sykes. I like sends you to the table and prompts you into the song.
Yeah, I would love that. Which, by the way, my best friend played Act 2, Nancy, and we have, of course, that on video, and we've watched that scene, and her fall is just so, she like sort of like falls behind the curtain slowly. It's so wild. The whole thing is crazy.
I love Oliver so much. It just
so
fun.
Show
means a lot to me. I did it as a kid, and that was one of my first big roles was the Artful Dodger.
That's right.
And then I toured with it for a long time, and then we did it here at the Mac. And Lynn Hayden, who God rest her soul, she just loves happy endings, And when we were doing it, she said, "Can we talk about the end?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course, let's talk." And she's like, "Is there any way that maybe Nancy doesn't die?" And I was like, "Well, I don't know that we could I wish I could talk to Charles Dickens himself and ask him if that was cool, if we changed the end." But I was like, "I don't think so, Lynn." I said, "I think it really is kind of part of the story." She goes, "Well, could she maybe I don't know, move her foot?"
That's so sad.
So sad. So it turned into a little bit of an argument, but she ultimately did let Nancy die. And, I felt truer to the piece.
Definitely.
And I do love Oliver.
Yeah.
So you grew up in the city. Where did you go to high school?
I went to high school in Brooklyn Heights, actually very close to where I live now, which is such a strange thing as an adult to be like, I was on that corner at 14 years old trying to skip class. I went to school in Brooklyn, which was ultimately pretty close because I grew up in downtown Manhattan, so it was kind of just over the bridge.
And then college?
College, I went to school in Vermont. I went to Middlebury College, which is a really amazing liberal arts school.
Cool.
It's interesting. I didn't consider at that time to go to a conservatory. I was just I love theater, but I was also a really academic kid, and it just wasn't, for some reason, for better or for worse, it wasn't in my line of vision to even apply. I only applied to liberal arts schools, and I went not knowing I would major in theater. I ended up doing theater, psychology, and French. My parents are both therapists, and I think I always thought I would maybe do that possibly. Yeah. But similarly to when I was young, I just sort of did one show and got hooked and was like, I want to be doing this.
Yeah, this is it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. All right. So there's mom, there's dad.
There's mom, there's dad.
Who we know well from the theater because they basically come to every show.
They move up to Chatham for 2 weeks.
They do. They're super fans, for sure.
Totally.
And we love having them. But you also have a brother, right?
Yes. Brother Josh is a journalist, now dabbling in screenwriting. He lives currently in Vancouver. My dad is Canadian, so we're half Canadian. I don't know if I've ever told you that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I have a dual citizenship, and my brother has taken advantage of that and had a little love affair with Vancouver, which is a beautiful city, and moved there for I guess a couple of years. He's been there.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I did not know that.
Yeah.
So I feel like I've got a good sense of your childhood.
Yes. Is there anything else I can tell you? I watched a lot of Dirty Dancing on repeat.
Well, I know that you like to say you're a dancer first. I did know that.
Thank you.
I think a lot of people don't realize that.
No one does.
But hopefully we'll show some clips during this interview of just some of your dance features that you've over the years. I mean, I knew you were a dancer first.
Based on my Baker's Wife audition.
Well, based mostly on your monologue, believe it or not.
I love that. That's great.
I can tell. I know a dancer when I hear one. Yeah. Thank you. Talk about the Mac-Haydn, or as I lovingly refer to it, the Mac-Haydn.
Mac-Haydn.
How did you first hear about the Mac-Haydn?
Through Josh Smith, who music directed Did he music direct it? He was involved in musically for sure in a production of Into the Woods that I did at Northern Stage.
Okay.
And he and that following summer he I think I saw him post about Mac-Haydn and I was like, ooh, what's happening? And can I come in? And he said yes. And so I came in for you for Rent, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, you came in for Mimi in Rent.
I came in for you. I came in for Mimi. That's right. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I remember your audition so well because you were dressed for Mimi. I remember.
Was I ever?
I know. I was like, God, this girl's amazing. All right, so we know you heard about us through Josh Smith, and then so you came into audition for Mimi in Rent, and I was like, I think there's another role. And what was that role?
Geneviève in The Baker's Wife.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which of course was just like one of my favorite shows of all time. Love it. I love doing it. So let's talk about the audition process for that, because we never sang you in New York for that.
Right.
Right. So what did I do? I think I asked you for a video submission, right?
Yeah. You did. You asked me for a video submission. You were very kind. You let me, you were very flexible. You said, do it whenever. And then I, for whatever reason, no shade on Josh Smith, love Josh Smith, got the vibe from Josh Smith that I should do it fast.
Right.
So I did do it fast, and I put it on tape with a reader who maybe is not the most experienced actor. And yeah, I think I sent you like 5 sides and like 2 full songs, and none of them were very good. And they were maybe okay, but like, well, can I tell the folks what you said to me?
Yes.
You said, you look like you're trapped by the wall.
Right.
I was like, my back was against the wall. It was like a close up. I think you said something like, it's theater, like get in a big room. And so you very, very, very kindly let me do it again, which was really sweet. And I did it with an actor and an actor friend who was good. And years later, I confessed the truth to you, which was that my mother actually was that reader man on the other end of the camera.
Which was like one of my favorite things of all time. If I recall correctly, it was like a cinder block wall, and you basically looked like Geneviève at gunpoint. Totally.
I looked incredible, but at gunpoint.
You looked amazing, and you sounded amazing.
Thank you.
So I feel like our audiences deserve to see like just at least a snippet of that first shot.
And just look at me, you would think this the cruelest of Decembers. Look at me, you would think we had snow. Then he looks at me and for a moment I melt again. The embers do glow, but oh, where is the warmth?
I think watching it, I was like, I love this girl.
So sweet.
I knew.
I remember also you saying verbatim when we first were talking on the phone about the first pass, you said, maybe not the best reader. Who is that guy?
I did.
I was like, oh, just a friend. My poor mom. She has a deep voice.
I'm pretty sure I apologized to your mom too about that.
Sure, we all have, and it's okay.
One of the 100 times she's been here. But you came and you did The Baker's Wife. Thank God.
Yes.
It was so good, and that's when I met you the first time, and just have loved you more and more every day since. Mm-hmm. Tell me about your first impression of the theater itself when you got here.
Yeah. I remember walking into the theater for that because Baker's Wife was the first show of the season. Yeah, so there was no other show rehearsing, which is like a really special slot that I I haven't actually experienced since then. But so we did like a walkthrough of the theater, and I remember really being impressed by like the spaciousness of the actual venue and the in the round quality, which of course I knew it would be in the round, but actually being in the space was just different and cool. And then, of course, like my perception totally shifted even further once we got to tech and I saw the lights. And as people talk about so much with the Mac, like just the transformation of the space and how it makes you feel once the lights go on. And you know, it's wild. It's super, super magical. So yeah, I remember being like really swept away by that.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when I started as an actor here in 2000, and I remember thinking like, oh my God, what's going on here? But then like something happened when those lights go down and, you know, and the lights come up on stage and suddenly you're in this, like, you're just in a room, you know? So it's so fun to act in there because there's no, you know, all convention is gone. You don't have to worry about looking down stage or looking, you know, angling your body in any different ways. You know, you move a lot around, but it's just such a fun room to act in, to work in. You know?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And I just
takes a minute to get used to it.
Yeah, no, totally. I definitely remember, and you know, when we were first on the stage and you were giving me direction, it took me a while to get my bearings.
Yeah.
And yeah, but I was lucky enough to be working with you and Mark, who had been at the theater before, and I felt like I had some really wonderful, strong guidance.
And now, like, I don't even speak to you when I block you. I just look at you and you know where to go.
It's a full telepathy.
I direct you with my eyes.
It's gorgeous.
We're just right in there with each other.
I love.
So The Baker's Wife, obviously you were a triumph. And then you went on to do several roles. What was next?
Next was South Pacific.
Pacific.
Yes.
Right.
Nellie Forbush.
Yeah.
Which was totally different.
Yeah, we made you take a shower on stage.
So fun. Remember that, trying to figure out how to do that with the wig cap and what a fun time. But taking a shower on stage is really fun. Let me recommend it to everyone out there.
It's really fun. Thankfully for me and for the world, I have not had to do that. But you nailed that shower.
Thank you.
It was so good.
Thank you.
She was gorgeous too. And then
Thank you.
Nellie, and then
Sweeney.
Oh, Sweeney Todd.
Sweeney Todd. Yes.
Sweeney Todd.
Sweeney Todd.
For which you won the Berkshire Theater Award.
Yes.
Exactly. Sweeney Todd. Do you remember when I called you to do Mrs. Lovett?
Yeah. I mean, I remember when we were first texting about that season, I was like, I would love to throw my hat in the ring for this, that. And you were like, what about Mrs. Lovett? And I was like, okay. And then, of course, you're a genius. You planted this idea in my head. And then over the course of the next couple of weeks before the audition, I couldn't stop thinking about it.
Right.
And was kind of obsessed with it, kind of like Mrs. Lovett would be.
Right.
And then I went in and I wore boots that you liked, and I guess that worked.
And I remember thinking that whole time, because we saw a lot of people, and I kept saying to Monica, like, I can't wait to see Emily Kron. And Monica even was like, all right, you know.
Right.
And when you left that day, I was like, I looked at Monica, and Monica goes, yeah, she's the one. I'm like, I know. I was so excited. You were my dream, what's her name?
Nellie Lovett.
No, Nellie Lovett. No, it's just the best.
That was really, really fun. And I do have to say, like, now that in retrospect, I was so scared of doing that. And doing it was what I honestly conquered some of my like biggest fears doing that role.
Yeah.
And it was incredibly rewarding.
You worked really hard. I mean, I remember Worst Pies. It was like, we took a long time.
Yeah.
To find the beats and to find all that stuff. And it was a slow burn in the beginning, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But then I think by the time we got to By the Sea, you were just like in her, and you knew who she was, and she was living on you and you were living on her. And it was like, it was just amazing. It was just an amazing thing to watch. It was such a good and such a fun show for us to do.
Yeah. It was such a good production.
It was really good. Then we moved into
Cabaret.
Salivos!
Salivos!
Which was basically a no-brainer. I think I called you in like October, and I was like, by the way,
Yes.
you're playing Salivos.
That definitely that's been a dream role for so long.
We had such a good time doing Cabaret.
And again, like the production, just thinking about it now, just so amazed by everything that you and Sebastiani did, and
it was.
Wow, it was so good. It was so cool.
I was so proud of that show. I thought it really just was so good, and it was different, and it was, you know, the cast was different, and it was just really such a blast to do. And then last year we saw you move into
Little Shop of Horrors.
Little Shop of Horrors. Audrey. I had seen you do Audrey years ago.
Yeah.
At Playhouse on Park in Connecticut.
Right.
So Audrey was a no-brainer for you.
So fun. Yeah, Audrey's one of those roles that I would love to play over and over again, in that she's so sensitive and sweet and funny and sad, and like I love a wounded comedic character, and I feel like she's really one of those.
You're flawless. It's just great.
Thank you.
So of those 5, did you, like, I know it's hard to pick a favorite, but did you have a favorite, do you think? Or do you love them all a little bit?
I love them all so much. They all presented different challenges and different rewards. I guess I would say there was something about Cabaret that I don't want to get too heady, but like it was cathartic in a way that I've never experienced a role, particularly the number Cabaret, the way you directed it with me, the way, what you let me do, what you like permitted me and encouraged me to do. I just felt like I got to sense of Emily in a really deep way that was like life, kind of like just big picture stuff. So honestly, maybe that one, but they've all been so enjoyable and just so delicious in terms of like the artistic experience and working with you. You're the best director ever. I've told you that a million times. Every note I write you.
Knock it off. What specifically?
What specifically? Knock it off. What?
I remember working on that number with you, though.
Totally.
Remember that number specifically with you being a ton of fun to work on, because it was like not what everybody thought it was going to be, you know.
Right.
And it was just a really like dark but oddly light moment that was just, you know, really fun to work on. I think we found some really cool stuff in there, you know. And it definitely blew people away, for sure. I remember I had a lot of I remember remarking to my family and friends about how there were a lot of men, like middle-aged to older men, who approached me crying in tears after Cabaret. Super, super emotional, and women too, but there was something just interesting about like the rawness. There's just the rawness of Sally at that time in the show, the way you directed it, the way we chose to go. It just like, I think it just hit me for sure. And I just felt like I was a part of something really cool there. It was great. But Sweeney's a second, very close. Yeah, because I got to be so crazy and disgusting, and that's the best. Yeah, it was. And you had great clothes and great hair and the whole thing was great. All right, so that's your crazy, awesome history with the Mac-Haydn.
Yes.
Obviously this summer, what are you going to miss the most about the town of Chatham? Because the town of Chatham is like...
so wonderful.
It's so awesome, and there's just so many things that, you know, are so great about Chatham. But what do you love the most about Chatham?
Oh, gosh. I really did get so sad today thinking about not being there this summer. I'm really going to miss the co-op on Church Street. I got to be really chummy with the head chef there over the course of the years, and he's so sweet and would give me things for free, and I just love the quality of the food. They really care about their food and how it's grown and how they take care of it. And I could walk there. Similarly, like, we'll really miss my little walk up to the theater from Church Street. I just love that. probably will really miss I love the Crandall. Like, definitely go there every single time I am up there. It's so sweet and so different. There's nothing like that anywhere else in the world that I've ever been to.
Cool, isn't it? Yeah, it's such a cool
it's the
spot.
best.
Yeah.
And I'll really and the volunteers at the Mac, just so many really sweet, supportive.
I know. I'm gonna miss them so much. The volunteers, the ushers, the concession stand.
I know.
Those ladies, like, I can't stand it that we're not gonna be able to hang with them.
Totally. Just like there's so much care.
Yeah, and like the coffee house people.
Totally.
Ives and Faye, and you've been to coffee house, yeah?
Yeah, of course.
Have
I been to coffee house?
You have a favorite dessert?
How dare you? Of course I do. The peanut butter cake. Peanut butter pie. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I believe that's Karen Leggett.
Yeah, that's Karen. Yeah.
Yeah, mine is Diane Ives' carrot cake.
Ooh, yum.
Like otherworldly. In fact, when I wrote a lot of them before we like officially announced, and Diane Ives wrote me back. She was so sweet. She was like, I know it's the worst decision, but it's the best decision. But call me if you need a carrot cake.
And we will.
And now, for a segment I like to call A Word from Our President. Every week, we're going to check in with Paul Colarusso, our president of the board of directors here at the Mac-Haydn Theatre. This week, we're checking in to ask him a very important question. Hey, Paul, what are you doing down there in New York City? Cooking! And that was this week's word from the president. Thank you, Paul.
So, what are you doing in the meantime?
In the meantime.
Yeah.
In the meantime. It's actually a Sondheim song.
You know what? David Maglione is writing my theme song to this show.
Oh, perfect. Does it go like that?
It is now.
That's so great. I love that he's doing that.
But this is what kind of the premise of this chat is. Like,
right.
I want to know kind of what else is going on. And
totally.
A lot of our audience, I'm sure there's a lot of people that follow you on Facebook and Instagram and stuff.
For sure, yeah.
But I know that you have so much going on outside of what we see you in the summertime.
Yeah.
So I thought let's start talking about M and the Fates.
I would love that. Yes. My band. Yeah, I do have a lot of different projects that sort of keep me going creatively, professionally. One of them is my band, M and the Fates, which has been just such a source of fun and joy and creative expression. We're now a 9-piece band. Wow. It's me, 2 backup vocalists that do a lot of harmony. It's very 3-part harmony based. We have a bassist, guitarist, drummer, pianist, and 2 horns and a drummer. And the horns really made it and brought it to the next level. Yeah, it's kind of like a throwback pop rock kind of vibe. Super fun. And I just it came out of a cabaret type of show that I was doing on my own, and I realized I wanted to be writing my own music. So it's all original music. We do covers sometimes, but it's just a way that I can do songwriting and performing throughout the city.
Yeah, it kind of gives me that vibe of like Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings.
Thank you. Very kind.
Really just lots of live musicians, funky soul. I have been super shady and I've never made it to one of your shows.
Horrible.
But I want everyone to know that I'm now officially blaming COVID-19 because I had a freaking ticket.
You were going to come.
Oh,
That's right.
It was the night before we started Straw Hats. Yep.
It was the 13th. It was March 13th. It was and we canceled it. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was, I was finally set to be in the city, to be at that show. Pat Moran was going. We were all going.
Yeah.
And then I missed it. So now I blame COVID.
That's fair. I totally accept that.
But I did buy, I don't know if I bought it because I have Apple Music, but it was on Apple Music, your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
People can find it there. Where else can they find it?
Yeah, so we have an EP that we recorded a few years ago that's on Spotify, iTunes, Bandcamp, all of those places. M and the Fates, if you type it in, you'll find it. We were actually going to be in the studio in April recording a new record because the songs on those and on that EP are really old at this point.
Right.
So yeah, it's a little bit disappointing, but we're trying to do some quarantining recording, and it's been pretty fun and collaborative.
Yeah.
So, we're making something happen in the meantime.
In the meantime, we have a little clip. What's this clip we're going to see?
It's a clip from the Not Your Woman music video that I directed.
Which is fabulous.
And I'm in it. And it's really, it's kind of absurdist, really colorful.
Mm-hmm.
It's a song about female empowerment and unity and sort of breaking through the confines of what the definition of being a woman means, and the video was really fun to make.
I know you told me if it ain't broke, don't fix it, but boy, it's broken. You sit there waiting while I am navigating. I've been awoken. I'm not your woman, so stop your sermon. I'm not your woman. Stop preaching, tear these walls down. Stop preaching, get out. There's no use fighting. You cannot hold me back now. The dawn is rising. Your old philosophy no longer suits me fine. It's called revising. 'Cause when you cage me, you're caging everyone. The flight is calling. The light within us, it's inextinguishable. Your tower's falling. I'm not your woman, so stop your sermon. I'm not your woman. Stop preaching, tear these walls down. Stop preaching, get
So aside from being in a band, you also, you're a comedy writer.
Yeah.
And you've written quite a few bits, and you have some really funny characters, and you've got some really funny things. And in fact, James Rogers, who of course is the managing director, he just watched Botox Angels for the first time yesterday. He said he could barely get through it. He couldn't stop laughing.
Hi. Oh my God! No, he's not here, but he sent us. I'm Kelly. I'm Rain. We're angels. Wait, you know God? Duh. I'm literally texting with him right now. Made it to Earth, need a matcha. Tell him to Venmo me. Wait, did God hear my prayer? Duh. He's super responsive.
Tell me about Botox Angels and where that even came from.
Totally. So I have been in tandem with theater. I've also been, interested in and cultivating various aspects of like digital media and filmmaking, and that can manifest in like directing, comedy shorts like Botox Angels and sometimes other longer form things. Botox Angels came from this psychotic mind of me, my psychotic mind, and Molly Hager, who is also a very talented musical theater actress, who is the other angel in the video. I think we just sort of like started doing this voice. I think that's where it came from. I think it started with a voice, right, as all good art does.
Yes,
a little bit of physicality, and then we were like, what if? I think we were just riffing. Like, what if people were so obsessed with our looks? We're so obsessed with looking young, how messed up would it be if like someone made a 7-year-old get Botox? I don't know. It just sort of was a conversation that like devolved really quickly or evolved.
I thought God made me perfect the way I am. Don't be fooled. God is just a guy, like every other guy. And guys just want everything to be pleasing to the eye.
It's just so funny.
Thanks.
But it's also so like, there's so many little details in it that are really funny, like God calling you and Venmo me and come Venmo me. And I notice when I watch it, I find myself going like this. Anytime the two of you are on there, I start like, you know, when an animal smells something on the wind, you know, and like their nostrils start flaring. I feel like that's what happens to me when I watch.
I love that so much.
You also just look, the two of you look so beautiful and Botox.
Crazy.
But
yeah.
Not, you know.
Neither of us have ever had Botox, I swear. I would tell you guys. I do have this ring light, which is helping.
Right.
But we're actually, I will tell you, I forgot to mention it to James, that we are doing some Botox angels in quarantine as well. So there's some of that coming out. Because they have to grow their own Botox, so things are getting weird.
Come back. The Botox angels need to be back. Now, where can people find that video?
People can find that video on Vimeo. So if you just type in Botox angels, Emily Kron, I think it'll probably be the first thing that comes up. And we also got a really cool feature on that project in Vulture, which was awesome. And just
Vulture said what? You're the funniest video.
Yeah, it was like one of the funniest videos of the month, and just had a little like review there, and that kind of thing just helps a lot for, I mean, I'm not even kidding. I got like 3 different meetings just from that short.
Yeah, and Vulture, that's so rad that they would pick up on you and do that, you know?
Yeah, it was really cool. So, so it was definitely one of those things that we didn't think was going to be that big of a hit, as it were, but people have liked it.
You know, it's so funny though, you put out such great content and it's like just a matter of time before something hits, you know, and Botox is so funny. There's also a character you do, the Wow Lady. Does she have a name?
No. Should she? Maybe she should.
Yeah, where did she come from? Because I'll tell you what, the president of our board of directors, Paul Colarusso, he is so obsessed with the Wow Lady that like him and Matthew Oliver, of course, our wig masteress, like he just loves that Wow Lady. I love her too.
Sure.
She doesn't have a name.
She doesn't have a name. So I'm opening, call to action. Let's get her a name. I don't have one. She came out of nowhere. And to be honest, like I forget about her and she'll come back and random moments. It's really a one-off. Nothing lasts more. She can't talk for more than like 60 seconds. So.
But she's very quick and she has just a few things to say. And she's really just there to report a lot about like her first time experiences.
Exactly. It's all just a first time experience.
It could be hot weather. It could be like her first time on a beach.
Exactly.
It could be her first time at Stewart's. I mean, you just never know what.
You never know.
She who has not yet been named is going to be. So anybody who wants to send in their suggestions of names, maybe watch.
Please send in suggestions. And I unfortunately, there's no good place to find that other than probably my Instagram handle. So @mcrone.
Yep.
But yeah, it's Wow Lady.
The Wow Lady is really something else.
Wow. It's my first time being interviewed by John Saunders. And I just want to say, wow, how divine. I'm shaking in my boots.
See, I don't know what that impulse is to go so close, but there it is.
She always zooms in.
She does do that.
Yeah.
She really doesn't know how to use the camera.
One of my favorites. We'll have to get a name on her.
Okay.
Talk to us about this like monster thing that's happening now. Which is really real. We heard about this news in the spring.
Right.
So I'll let you talk to us about.
Yes. Deceased Ones. Deceased Ones is the name of a television series that I created that I am in sort of in current development for. It means that right now we're at the stage of trying to sign on with a producer. It's about two friends who get involved in the niche service of role-playing the dead, which is a job that requires they play make-believe for people who've lost their dead loved ones. So it's sort of a mix of like, it's a tragic comedy.
Yep.
And probably, honestly, my love for theater was the seed for the idea of this show. And I shot a proof of concept for it in Los Angeles last spring, which is essentially, you know, the premise. So it's like a 14-minute version of what the show wants to be. And that got into the Tribeca Film Festival for pilots.
That's not your laugh.
What?
Are you all right, son?
And we just got accepted into this creators market where we had tons and tons of meetings with like studios and networks and producers, and are just at a stage with it where we are getting to basically try to pitch it. And of course, a lot of opportunities that were going to happen are not now because of this pandemic. So there were certain things that we were going to get to do throughout the summer that were not, but maybe it'll be rescheduled. There have been some silver linings. Like, I do think that people are reading work now. And so in a way we have access to, we've just had, I don't know what I'm allowed to say here, but we've had some really exciting high profile kind of meetings. And I think it's just, if it's not now, hopefully it's soon, but yeah, there's a lot of momentum under that particular project, and a couple of others that I'm working on that are also kind of like 30-minute comedy kind of, yeah. That's the spiel.
And let's just hope that we truly are on what they're saying, and it's a pause.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And we're going to unpause, and I think everything will line back up again. You know?
Yeah, I think so too.
Time will be right. It's the content's amazing, and it's there's clearly a place in the world for it. So I think, everything crossed, it'll happen.
Yeah.
This is just so weird. Like, everything we were meant to be doing is suddenly like, screw, let's hold.
Right.
And it's hard, we're in theater, we're used to being held. We hold all the time, and we pause, and we take everything takes forever. I read a really good article yesterday that says theater, we're always in a crisis. So, it doesn't matter.
Love that.
Live theater, we're always in a crisis, no matter what. We're always freaking out.
Totally.
But I don't know how you feel, but like, I miss our medium. I miss being able to work,
Totally. And I think that, I've gotten to do a lot of writing, but that's not the whole thing. I mean, not being able to collaborate in the flesh is really sad and hard, and especially when we're used to that.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it's like we're so into this thing now, and I think things are starting to peel off, and we're realizing, I think, like, what we miss the most, and obviously it's people,
Yeah.
But I think for us, I'm missing the work. I'm missing collaborating. I'm missing funny conversations on 5-minute breaks. I'm missing spitballing how to do something, or, all the things that go into what we do. I mean, our whole thing is based on people gathering,
Yeah. Right.
And we'll be the last industry to go back,
Yeah.
But I think it's really fun for everyone to see, like, that nothing is stopping creativity,
Right.
Especially like, the prime example of, like, you're writing, you're putting these things out there. You've got this video content, you're taking meetings, you're prepping for the unpause.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So, like, in the meantime, Emily Kron is getting ready to continue nailing it when we unpause this nonsense,
Yes.
Yeah.
Trying to, but not without the moments of, like, I can't stop staring at this wall for an hour, because
I know
it's just hard. And I think it's important to validate all of the experiences, including the ones that don't involve action and creativity.
5 fast questions.
Great. You want to answer them fast?
Well, as quickly as you can.
Okay.
quickly as you can. Hang on, let me just make sure that it's still working. It is. Quarantine. What are you eating?
Like veggies and burgers, but also ice cream. Veggies and burgers and ice cream.
Thank you for being truthful.
Yeah.
Thank you for your truth in this
Thank
moment.
you for your kindness.
Next question. What are you wearing?
Hoops and an all white number.
I don't mean now. I mean, like, what's your talk to me about your quarantine couture.
Oh God, it's horrible, but also excitingly vibrant. I've gotten a lot of mixed reviews. I mean, I am socks with, you would hate it, socks with Birkenstocks. Leave it there.
God, well, now that I know we went to college in Vermont, that makes sense.
I know, but they're gold Birkenstocks.
Naturally.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense now. Who are you quarantining with?
Oh, my partner Daly. It's what a whirlwind. What a test to a relationship. I'll tell you that.
And you guys just moved in together, correct?
Yeah. Not just, but yeah, I moved in October, end of October. So it'd been a little bit, but still new enough. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to talk to you with my eyes really quick.
Great. And I'm talking back.
I get that.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
What's the one thing you miss the most? One thing.
Being in a room full of people, either engaging in an artistic experience or enjoying one, like audience or stage.
Okay. Yeah, I'm on board with that. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Now, if you had one message to send to all of the amazing folks that won't see you this summer, but hopefully we'll see you next summer, what kind of message do you have for everybody out there?
My message is don't be hard on yourself. Don't yell at yourself for being any sort of way. And if you can make room for some creativity, it's all valid. You know, writing in your journal, watering your plants is creative, going for a walk, writing a song or I don't know, anything. I think not putting a label on some sort of expression and just letting it out, whatever it may be, is useful. That can also mean screaming into a pillow. I've done it.
Mama told me he isn't what you thought. He ain't what he's not. And she told me run and not get caught. He ain't what he is not. Mama told me he isn't what you thought. He ain't what he's not. And she told me run and not get caught. He ain't what he's No, he won't change. He'll just stay the same. No, he won't change. No, he won't change. He'll just stay the same. No, he won't change.
So there you have it, the first episode of In the Meantime with John Saunders. I'm John Saunders, and that was In the Meantime. We had a blast with that interview, and I hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you to Emily Kron for participating today. And don't forget, if you donate to the Bright Future Fund and mention Emily in those comments, we will make sure that half of that donation gets to Emily as an honorarium to help continue that incredible work she's doing. We had such a great time, and we can't thank Emily enough for joining us as our first guest of In the Meantime. We hope to have her back really soon, and we know we'll have her back on stage hopefully soon. In the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay hopeful. We'll see you all very, very soon.